So you're gonna start first. I think we mentioned. Yeah. So after that, my name is my student ID, and I'm doing which part, and then it's my turn.
It's started.
Maybe yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. We're doing a case law study, and case law study. The name is ASIC versus Casmatis, which is in 2013. And my name is Amandeep CHOPRA, and my student ID is AZZ3496, and my classmate would do.
Yeah, my name is Yiwei TIAN, and my student ID is EII3093, and I'm basically doing the middle part of the presentation, which is the basic introduction. Yes.
Hi, myself Munish Kaur. My student is at 387, and I'll be doing the conclusion, and I'll conclude each of part of the presentation as convenient.
So now we start off with the introduction part. So introduction part is this is the case from Australia.
Oh, hold on a sec.
Yep.
Have a seat.
Thank you. So this is what we just have. This is our names and student IDs. The case is ASIC versus Casmatis in 2013. So a brief idea about the case. How is it all about? So first I talk about introducing about the case. The case is from Australian history in the case of mighty fall of a big financial advisory organization, which is known as which was named as Storm Financial, due to the breach of the director duties and their responsibilities. It had two directors, namely Amul and Julie Casmatis, who also happened to be founders of the company. They founded Storm Financial in the year of 1994. It was once a very big organization, had around 13 offices in Australia, with a customer base of more than 13,000 clients. After the hit of recession in 2008, their shares started falling. Due to this, they started margin lending from CBA, which is CBA became cautious on lending as it suspected from Storm's fall of recession. Due to suspicion, CBA started giving margin calls to the Storm. However, Storm was confident to perform in the coming future, hence they declined most of the margin calls from CBA. So this case has baseless and hence was later repealed, but it destroyed the Storm's repute among the clients, and it was the major recession of their early fall in 2008 and 9. Due to its fall, a loss of approximately 3 million and 3,000 clients was seen. In the year of 2010, the company was again investigated and major breach of care and negligence. However, the Casmatis were found the most immoral in the case. They found guilty the breach of care and negligence in advising the restituted clients or Storm Financial, which was in 2016. So I'll talk about Storm's model now, which was regarding one size fits all, which didn't work later on, and ASIC took an action to this one size fits all, and then I'll talk about the Storm. The Storm model was commonly used software analyzing the financial data of clients by Storm company. This model was appreciated many times in the past of its quick assessment ability. However, later it was found that Storm model was misused to earn higher revenues. Due to the model, the clients of the Storm Financial they received misleading advices. Information about the financial strategy was also not correct. The principle used was one size fits all. That is, all clients will always be advised the same aggressive investment techniques. no matter the age, is about the clients. So also, the rule book says the Australian Corporations Law of 2001 is the rule book for business entities of Australia. It was formed after Commonwealth was found to have been having a less power in regulating companies. These rules and regulations were regulated by ASIC. ASIC is also responsible for serving and controlling other business-related factors such as investments and internal policies of Australian companies by Peter McDermott in 2005. So I will just pass on to my classmate to start off with the second part, which is related to law used in the case. So thank you.
Okay, now I'm just gonna talk about the beginning of the fall. After the recession of 2008, share of the Storm financials dropped. Hence, the major creators started selling for margins. Storm financials declined this cost as they were confident to perform in the coming future. Due to the negligence, CBA filed a petition against Storm financials in March 2009. The case was found to be baseless and was replaced, but prepared in the reputation of the Storm financials. They lost around 3 million and 3,000 customers. So later on, ISAC filed the case against the Storm model and the directors. Also, law used in the case which related to Section 180, Subsection 1 and Subsection were used in the case in accordance with Corporation Law of 2001. In this, the directors of Storm Financials were found at fault. They were found breaching the rule of care and diligence for civil obligation writing in Section 180 of CDS. So it includes whether the ISAC has considerable prospect arise out of civil proceeding and the directors were foreseen with the risk of breaching their moral grounds and exposing their company at risk. Another thing which is very important is safety net. And from this part, the directors in problem with breaching the Section 180 of the Corporation Act have got a safety net in Section 180 and Subsection 2, which helps the directors to avoid those restrictions. Then another thing is about duties binding the directors. Directors is an essential part of board and is representative of company's interest. In case of Storm Financials, casemates couples were directors and founders. According to the various rules written in the CTS, the directors are entitled to follow those duties. The first one is to act care and diligence, also avoid the entering into any risk transactions. And others to maintain the good amount of faith, to avoid doing any amount of improper use of their position or information for any gains, to ensure that if their company is insolvent, it should not trade. Also to ensure that there is continuous disclosure of the available information to the market if the company is public listed. Also, the last 2 points is to ensure that the company complies with its obligations. Also, to disclose any information related to the materials interested to the shareholders of the company. And then the direct liability of in this case is under Section 180, subsection 1, directors were charged for breach in their duty of providing care, skill, and diligence, as they were not giving correct advice to investors. However, they were not found guilty of complaints failure. The SEC was taking the approach of a stepping stone in this case to support its strategic objectives. SEC was keener on aggressively taking these hearings to establish a legal precedent in its attempt to finding directors responsible. Finally, it has been agreed that directors' responsibility was to stop any issue in complaints ever after it happened. It was also found that if the directors have used precautionary measures, the storm's fault could not have been raised. Also not to say, ASEC won on this strategy and seeking the personal action against directors for what they did. And then there's some hearing details which started in year 2011 until the 2016, which the judgment came. For those detailed hearings, which we listed in our assignment. Also, the judgment is finally, after a long trial and proceeding under a lot of judges, federal court found casemates guilty in breach of their duties in conserving care and diligence under Article 180, subsection 1. So that's my part, and finally, our group member Princey will gonna tell some more details about the conclusion part. Thank you.
Thanks, Yiwei, for giving me the honor to conclude the whole part. And from now on, I'll conclude the case. When in the conclusion, the long fight against the Storm Financial that started in the year 2011 came to a final conclusion in 2016. And due to the carelessness of directors of Storm Financial, the company has fallen drastically. Many people lost their money, some were bankrupted, and they were clueless on what to do. Many of them in their old ages were financially without help. They were left all alone just because the directors of the financial advising company were greedy and were impotent on performing their duties towards their carelessness. Federal Court found couple Casemates guilty in breach of their duties in conserving care and diligence under Article 180(1). The Casemates were accused as directors of Storm Financials and were charged for not covering all the moral grounds related to the investments. In this case, one more issue came into light, and that was forcibility. Directors were now ready to understand what they were providing in Storm model is not right. Casemates were myopic about the viability of the Storm model. Just also told them that they have much better reach and understanding of their model, and they clearly know that what they are serving to their clients. So, by this case, there are many lessons to learn for the directors of companies operating under the rules of ACIS. And the consequences were the Storm Financial failed miserably due to the carelessness of the directors. The clients lost their investments, and some of them also become bankrupt. Even the most investing aggressively in their old age lost their savings that I told before. And the old age also, they lost their investments. And moreover, they would not have any source of income to look after oneself. And the learning outcomes was the major lesson which I was discussing there. The directors is to keep their controls under proper supervision and responsibility. Whether the directors and investors or shareholders, they can always balance their action and take precautions. The directors should understand their liability when they take the highest responsibility and manage their liability with the expectations of their clients in order to preserve the better relationship and not destroy their status by their non-involvement. Directors are also considered a public stature and what they must do in favor of their investors as well as their clients. Hence, foreseeability is one of the characteristics that one should develop in order to sustain the market. Revenue generation is important, but the particles for it should be morally as well as ethically correct. Focus should be on customer satisfaction because rather than on revenue generation. And the top management needs to understand their responsibilities in terms of to retain customer satisfaction and to create value addition for them. It is directors' duty to keep control over what they do and limit themselves to their duties. They should not become greedy for money while performing their duties. Any director who takes care of its clients is out to perform well in the market. Its value increases substantially. And thanks for listening.